What if the most powerful thing you could do for your immune system, your blood pressure, and your mental health was just walking slowly through the woods? No pills, no gym, no equipment, just trees. In Japan, doctors literally prescribe this. They call it Shinrin-yoku, forest bathing. And a 2026 meta-analysis just confirmed what they've known for decades. Spending time in forests measurably lowers your heart rate, drops your anxiety, and boosts your immune system for over a month. Today, we're diving into the ancient Japanese practice that modern science says might be one of the simplest health interventions on the planet. So let's start with the basics. Shinrin-yoku translates literally to forest bath. Shinrin means forest. Yoku means bath. But you're not getting wet. You're bathing in the atmosphere of the forest, the sounds, the smells, the light. The term was coined in 1982 by Tomohide Akiyama, the head of Japan's forest agency. At the time, Japan was in the middle of an economic boom. People were working insane hours. So many were literally dying from overwork that they had a word for it: karoshi. Akiyama's idea was simple but brilliant. Japan is nearly 70% forest. What if the cure for modern stress was already growing outside? But this wasn't totally new. Japan's indigenous Shinto religion teaches that kami, divine spirits, live in trees, rivers, and mountains. For centuries, the Japanese have believed that nature and humans are equal beings. Forest bathing just gave that ancient reverence a modern name. And it's not just Japan. Taoism in China has long taught that harmony with nature is the path to health. Indigenous cultures around the world have used forests as places of healing for thousands of years. But here's where it gets really interesting. In 2004, the Japanese government decided to put serious money behind this. They invested $4 million into forest bathing research over the next 8 years, certified over 60 official forest therapy trails, and set up clinical stations where doctors measure your blood pressure before and after a walk. South Korea went even bigger, spending $140 million on a national forest healing center. This is not fringe wellness. This is government-backed medicine. All right, let's talk about the science, because this is where forest bathing goes from, "Oh, that's nice," to, "Wait, seriously?" The foundational research comes from Dr. Qing Li, a professor at Nippon Medical School in Tokyo. He's spent over 20 years studying what forests do to the human body. And he once said something I love. Some people study medicine. Some people study the forest. I study forest medicine. In 2007, Dr. Li took 12 healthy men on a 3-day forest bathing trip. He measured their blood before, during, and after. What he found was remarkable. Their natural killer cells, that's the part of your immune system that hunts and destroys cancer cells and viruses, increased by about 50%. And the proteins those cells use to kill threats, perforin, granulysin, granzyme, all went up significantly. But here's the kicker. He measured them again 7 days later. Still elevated. 30 days later, still elevated. One trip to the forest, and their immune system was stronger for an entire month. To make sure this wasn't just a vacation effect, he ran a control. He sent the same group on a city tourist trip. Same duration, same social activity. The result? 0 increase in NK cells. No immune boost at all. It was the forest specifically doing this. And Dr. Li figured out why. Trees release compounds called phytoncides, natural essential oils like alpha-pinene that protect trees from bacteria and insects. When you breathe forest air, you're inhaling these compounds. And a 2021 study confirmed that alpha-pinene directly activates NK cells through something called the ERK/AKT signaling pathway. In other words, the trees are literally sending chemical signals that wake up your immune system. It's not mystical, it's biochemistry. Now, the immune system findings are just the beginning. A brand new meta-analysis published in February 2026 in Frontiers in Psychology looked at 11 studies on Shinrin-yoku and found benefits across the board. Heart rate dropped by an average of 4 beats per minute after a single forest session. Systolic blood pressure dropped by nearly 3 points. Anxiety scores plummeted, depression scores dropped, and fatigue scores fell by over a full standard deviation, which in research terms is a massive effect. A separate review by Dr. Li, summarizing 20 blood pressure trials with over 700 participants, found that both systolic and diastolic blood pressure were significantly lower in forest environments compared to urban ones. And in 2025, Dr. Li published a new randomized crossover trial. That's one of the gold standard study designs, with 30 men. He found that forest bathing significantly reduced 3 major inflammatory markers: CRP, IL-6, and fibrinogen. These are the same markers doctors look at when assessing risk for heart disease, autoimmune conditions, and chronic illness. It also improved blood oxygen levels and sleep quality. So you're literally breathing better and sleeping better after time in the forest. On the mental health side, a 2022 meta-analysis of 20 studies with over 2,200 participants found forest bathing was effective for depression, anxiety, anger, and stress, with the strongest effect on anxiety. And here's something fascinating. A 2025 study out of China tracked 36 people after forest bathing and found their immune improvements. Increased T cells, better CD4/CD8 ratios, higher salivary antibodies were still measurable a full month later. One experience, 4 weeks of benefit. So to sum this up, forests lower your heart rate, your blood pressure, your stress hormones, and your inflammation. They boost your immune cells, your mood, and your sleep. And the effects last weeks, not hours. Okay, so how do you actually do this? Because forest bathing is not hiking. It's not exercise. And getting this distinction right is key. A typical session lasts 2 to 3 hours, but you're covering less than a mile. That's it. The whole point is to slow down radically. Step 1. Leave your phone behind, or at least put it on airplane mode. The goal is to disconnect from screens and reconnect with your senses. Step 2. Engage all 5 senses intentionally. Look at the patterns in the bark. Listen to the birds and the wind. Feel the texture of a leaf. Smell the earth and the trees. Taste the freshness of the air. Step 3. Don't set a destination. There's no peak to reach, no step count to hit. Just wander. If something catches your attention, a stream, a patch of moss, a beam of sunlight, stop and spend time with it. Step 4. Find a sit spot. At some point during your walk, choose a place that feels good and just sit. 10, 15, 20 minutes. No agenda. Just observe. In Japan, guided forest bathing sessions often end with a simple tea ceremony using herbs from the forest. You don't have to do this, but bringing a thermos of tea and drinking it in the woods is a beautiful way to close the experience. Now, you might be thinking, I don't live near a forest, and that's okay. Research shows that even city parks with trees provide some benefits. Dr. Li himself has said that a park with a decent canopy of trees can work. Here's how I'd suggest starting. This week, find 30 to 60 minutes. Go to the nearest park or forest trail. Leave your headphones at home. Walk slowly. Breathe deeply. Pay attention. That's it. If you want to go deeper, the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy, founded in 2012, has trained guides across the US and around the world. A guided session can really transform the experience. And remember, Dr. Li's advice. 1 forest bathing trip per month is enough to keep your natural killer cell activity elevated. That's 12 walks a year for a measurably stronger immune system. 12 walks. No prescription needed. The Japanese figured this out in 1982. The science confirmed it over the next 4 decades. And now, in 2026, the evidence is stronger than ever. Sometimes the most advanced thing you can do for your health is the most ancient. Just go stand among the trees. If you found this valuable, subscribe to the Longevity Archive. Every week, we uncover ancient health practices that modern science is finally catching up to. Drop a comment and tell me, when was the last time you spent real, quiet time in nature?